So when something strikes me, I try to do a video immediately. And I was drawn back to this novel book, The Manchurian Candidate. Now I'm referring to the book, which is by Richard Condon. And it's the classic novel, 1962, that inspired the original movie. And this cover of this book has, of course, the remake movie that stars Denzel Washington, Meryl Streep, and Liev Schreiber. And I'm sorry I didn't say the name correctly, but I highly recommend you watch the original Manchurian Candidate. It had Frank Sinatra in it. And then you could also watch the remake. So obviously it's such a great movie that they decided to remake it. Now just reading this plot summary here will tell you that something weird took place while they were on patrol in Korea. And what happened was they were all kind of knocked unconscious and taken to the communist center where they were programmed, Manchuria. And none of them are aware that they were programmed. So without spoiling the movie or the book, I want to get into the particular spot that I was reading and try to make my point. Okay, it's on page number 15. And Sergeant Raymond Shaw is the one that's the key individual that's been programmed for assassination. Now he's in his room and the FBI is at the door and there's a plane to take him to Washington, D.C. Did they tell you I'm being flown to Washington to get a Medal of Honor at the White House? Maybe they think maybe this silly hunk of iron he had never asked for would be useful for something just once. This kind of square brought that stuff. A Medal of Honor was like a lot of money. It was very hard to get, so it took a lot of magic powers. Are you that, Sergeant Shaw? That's me, he spoke on the phone. Right. I'll hold on. Now, I'm sorry I'm not reading very smoothly and quickly, and it's because I'm trying to hold the book and read to you from the little screen on the camera of which I'm recording. So please don't think that I need to go back to 6th grade for reading. It's just a little hard for me to see it and fumble around. Now what I wanted to underscore was that last line. So it took a lot of magic powers. To what? To get a Medal of Honor. It took a lot of magic powers to get a Medal of Honor. Now that was the clue for me, because all these medals are about magic powers. All the little trinkets that are on the shirts of those in the military, especially these major trinkets like the Medal of Honor. or Purple Heart. It took a lot of magic powers. Read it. Now, a lot of times these authors are privy to things, and they know about war hoaxing. And they know that those who are singled out, like Sergeant Robert Shaw, for a Medal of Honor, are just hoaxes. Now I'm going to tell my story again about an individual I met. And I told this story on my channel, War Backwards is Raw. And I think I call them Raw Encounters. And it was at a grocery store. I saw a man with a hat on about the Gulf War, so I asked him a couple questions, and he was excited that I wanted to talk to him. Now he's in blue jeans and a t-shirt and tennis shoes. And as soon as I talk to him, he reaches in his pocket and he pulls out a medal that was given to him by high command, supposedly, in the Gulf War. And immediately he went into all this discussion with me about a firefight in the high command general that awarded him this medal. Now, as soon as he brought that object out into the open and showed it to me, I literally felt a strange demonic power come upon me. And that strange demonic power said, believe every word, don't question anything, because everything he says is absolutely true, without a doubt. And you should never question anybody that's in the military, especially someone who has a medal. Now, this is a little hard to explain to average people. But those of you that watch my videos, it's probably not that difficult for you of a concept. It's called sorcery. And it's in the Bible. And objects such as these medals can actually retain demonic power. And along with the man's lying words and the metal object, I was coming under a power. And I'm telling you something. I struggled. I knew there were liars in the world, but something inside of me said, believe this, believe everything he says. Now let me ask you a question. If you are the holder of such a medal, would you keep it in your pocket at the grocery store? Going to the grocery store? And it was long after the Gulf War. Anybody that I know that ever got medals, they usually put them in some type of a case, and they kept them in their cupboard or under their bed or something like that. A lot of the World War II ones that I've talked to, and I've talked to people from World War II, I've talked to people from Korea, people from Vietnam, people in Gulf War. So I've tried to capture my stories. And the story that I'm referring to is the series is called Raw Encounters. And it was just an encounter I had in a grocery store with somebody I had no knowledge of or had never met. So back to what I was reading to you about these medals. The author here will tell you it took a lot of magic powers. And of course, the storyline in The Manchurian Candidate is that no, they weren't really heroes. They were men who were just under the power and influence of drugs and the mind-bending control of the communists coming out of Manchuria and using their mind-bending powers to program a man to kill and assassinate upon the proper signals. There were no heroes. There were only subjects under mind control. Well, I've gone on quite extensively about my story, and I try to capture things immediately so my thoughts don't slip by, and so that I can share with you different things that are going on in my life and the kinds of thoughts that come into my life. I'd like for you to realize that the only real medals that we would ever want will occur after we're dead in this life. And the medal that I desire is to hear the Lord Jesus Christ say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Other than that, all these trinkets that are worn in the military, realize that if you look at them, you might be looking at powers of sorcery drawing you in to make you believe a bunch of lies. Once again, thank you for listening to me and watching this video. End of video.